Welcome to another episode of Carolina's Field, Forest, and Water podcast, a production of the South Carolina Governor's School for Agriculture at John De La Howe. Something a little different this week. You know, we do farm sports here on the campus like shotgun team and field trial, but today our friends from Lander University came to talk to us about additional non-traditional sports. This week, esports.
Welcome to this edition of Carolina's Field, Forest, and Water podcast. I'm your host, William Cutshaw, and my co-host,
Dr. Williams,
and our special edition,
Tristan Burnwell.
Today, we have Mr. Howard and Mr. Elkins on campus with us. Howard and Mr. Elkins are here from Lander University's esports program to talk about their opportunities to help college and high school students. So would you mind telling us a little bit about what you played as a kid?
Yeah, so I grew up, actually, my first game was on the Game Boy Color. I played a game called Driver. It was the only game I had, but I very quickly got into playing NBA Live 2001, I think it was, on the original PlayStation. And then from there, I was a big sports title guy growing up. So I played Madden. I was actually top 50 in the world in Madden for 3 years straight from 2006 to 2008. I would travel to different tournaments across the country. And that, to me, is what I thought esports was. It was, Madden. This is, what I'm good at. And then I got into college, and all of my college friends played this game called League of Legends. And I said, you guys are nerds. I'm never going to play this game. Quit asking me. Finally, I gave in, and here I am 12 years later coaching League of Legends as a career. We also do other games here as well, but really that was kind of the game that jump-started everything for me.
I mostly grew up on games like Mario, stuff like that. I started with a Nintendo Wii, moved on towards LEGO Star Wars Skylanders, lots of those games. Didn't really get to the more competitive or team game scene until later into middle school. Start with games like Fortnite, Rogue Company, and that pretty much led me up to college where I started playing Valorant to keep up with some friends.
Okay. So what is y'all's favorite game to play, like, as a team?
Favorite game to play as a team? Well, it really depends. So each player on the team will have their specialty game. So Ice here will play only Valorant for us. We have players that only do Rocket League. We don't really have any crossover between players. So each team has their own game, and they kind of really stay in that lane. If I had to pick a personal favorite game to play, I would probably say League, just because I have so much time invested into it. But as of late, I've really been enjoying Rocket League.
What about
I mostly just enjoy Valorant.
you? Okay.
I mean, played it to keep up with friends, and it kind of stuck. It's pretty much the only thing I play now.
Would you say playing video games as a kid has taught you anything that you use today?
It sparked my interest in wanting to be a coach. So when I was playing Madden, I was very interested in, the strategy behind it, the offensive and the defensive schemes, different formations, what coverage would work well against a certain type of offense, how certain offenses could break up certain types of defenses. I love the strategy behind it. And so that kind of really sparked my interest in coaching. If you would have told me growing up that, hey, you're going to coach at a college level, but you're going to coach esports, I never would have believed it. But now I get to kind of take all that where we really focus on the strategy aspect, but we also focus on the process, the standards. We talk a lot about, being able to go in and execute in the moment. We only do our job perfectly on every single play. We don't worry about external factors like the score. We don't worry about things that are outside of our control. And so as a coach, I really get to go in and focus on those areas and kind of teach that to others. So I wouldn't say I picked that up from playing video games as a kid, but over the years, that strategy aspect has really always been a part of it.
So, let's talk about Lander. So, first of all, congratulations on the Eastern Conference Championship in Marvel Rivals.
Thank you.
They swept Florida in the finals, 4-0. So, as a coach, you play with your students?
For practices, so all of our practices are pretty guided, right? So we'll pick a concept that we're working on. We might be trying to add a new map to the pool for Valorant. We might be working on a new team comp in Valorant. We might be working on a specific concept in Rocket League. We might be adding a new communication system in Rivals. So sometimes I'll hop in if we need the extra person in there. A lot of the times, though, I'm just kind of sitting behind, holding them accountable to the standards that we lay out. We have 3 different standards that we talk about within the program. So we have our academic standard, we have our personal standard, and we have our, I'll call it the athletic standard. And so with that, the academic standard is 100% of your work turned in. 100% of the classes being attended, and then making sure that if you need help, you're reaching out and you're asking for it. So we hold every student to that standard. So Jackson, what happens if you don't have your work turned in?
If I just don't get stuff turned in, then I'll get benched and have to fix everything.
Yep. So we'll hold a player out of practice for not meeting the academic standard. Personal standard, we talk a lot about going in and just doing what's good for yourself. I'm a person that I don't need 8 to 10 hours of sleep tonight. I can usually function off 6 to 7. I have, as of late, really tried to be better about taking care of myself, drinking more water, a lot less pop, stuff of that nature. So I've really been trying to, walk the walk and talk the talk type of deal. Our athletic standard, we really talk about, precise execution of your role on every play. So if we're taking a specific fight, if we're approaching a situation in a way, how can I do my job perfectly? And I'll hold every player to that standard during the practice. So I will always call it championship level practice. So we practice in practice the way we would play in a championship match.
How many championships have Lander actually won?
So ever since I've taken over, we have gone to 11 conference championships, 12 now. 12. We've won 5 of them. So, we're working on getting that win rate up a little bit, but still being in that conversation to be in a top 2 finish, it's phenomenal. I think we've done almost 50 tournaments now, 50 seasons since I've taken over. We have made playoffs in all but 5.
So for people who might not know anything about esports, could we maybe talk about a little bit of like the conferences and how those work? Because I know a lot of people, watching might not know anything about esports, and they're probably familiar with like football conferences and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a little bit different, assuming.
Yes and no. So you have a lot of we'll take the Big Ten, for example, right? The Big Ten does have their own esports segment. They have, Michigan, Ohio State has that big rivalry in football. Well, they're starting to build it out for esports as well. Well, they're going to travel to each other's campuses and they'll play each other in, Overwatch, Valorant, Rivals, League of Legends, Rocket League, all within the same day and make this big rivalry event out of it. And so we're starting to see that more and more. Our traditional athletic conference we compete in is the Peach Belt Conference. And, our fantastic, fancy little trophy we won there, for Rocket League, we went to Florence and they're, an NCAA Division II conference. And we went out and were able to win the Rocket League championship down there. So a lot of your NCAA conferences are starting to pick up on it. This wasn't the case, 8-9 years ago.
How does esports actually help people outside of gaming?
I'm not sure how it is for a lot of people, but for myself, just as a baseline, it gave me a group of friends around campus that I had one thing in common with. And with that, it also gave me plenty of opportunities to kind of expand on what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, get help with things that I'm not quite as good at. Like I've made friends that are business majors that have been able to help with some of my general education classes. So it's nice to just have study support through just knowing people, instead of having to go out of your way to book a study session with a tutor or something. That's been a big help for me. Another one of the big things that's been a help for me is being in a team environment. It's teaching me how to work with people that I wouldn't normally work with well. A lot of the time, I don't really go out of my way to work with people. I prefer working alone, prefer to sit down, get stuff done. But being in this team environment where we are working towards one goal as a team has taught me to work with people that I would normally not spend any time thinking about working with. And it's just been great for me developing as a person in society.
So it sounds like from your perspective, it's not just gaming. I feel like if somebody were to hear the word esports, they're like, oh, you're just playing video games and trying to win. So like as a leader in the esports program, you're not just focusing on teaching them how to be good at gaming. You're focusing on like life skills and stuff.
Yes, absolutely. So that's where we go back to the standards, right? We also talk about, what are the different traits where that's successful people will have, so we talk a lot about self-discipline. And for us, self-discipline has kind of a twofold definition. It's, I have something that I know I need to do. Can I make myself do it? And that's a very, very common theme in our practices, in our academic checks. We have academic requirements that students have to meet. And then we always relate everything back to our coaching philosophy, which we call the process. And so the process is, executing in the current moment, just being perfect at what you do, only focusing on what's important now, and making sure that everyone's on the same page. So you're doing your job, but they're also doing their job, but you guys have to be on the same page about it. Well, then how do we translate that into real world? Hey, I have this large project that I have to put together for this presentation I have to do for a merger, right? Okay, so what's the most important thing that I can work on now to get towards my end goal? And so by kind of proxy, they're learning the skills here. They'll be able to apply them once they get after graduation.
Now, so I know like baseball and football and soccer, like all the main sports, they get full scholarships for, say, they'll have scouts come out and watch their games. How does someone get a scholarship for an esports team?
Yeah, for us, it's really a lot of commitment. Okay, so I don't necessarily care what a player's rank is coming in. I do care about their character. I do care about their, academic performance. I do care about their commitment to a program, being able to buy into a philosophy. If you look at, just someone's rank and say, hey, I'm going to give you a dollar amount associated with a rank, I think it really sends the wrong message that you're only here to play the game. And that's not what our program is about.
How many games does Lander eSport team provide?
Yeah, so we'll do League of Legends, Valorant, Overwatch, Rocket League, and Marvel Rivals. And then we also have a production program as well. And so those are internships that we offer for like graphic design, social media, Discord bot coding, programming, Twitch streaming, shoutcasting, sports journalism. So more of the esports business side of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Elkins, what would be a college day in the life as a student athlete?
I know I've got a much busier schedule than a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of piled my courses and everything into this semester. But for a lot of students, we'll take we'll take Tuesdays, for example, or Thursdays, sorry. So I'll wake up, eat my breakfast, go to classes, typically finish those around somewhere between 5 and 7. And then for the esports side of it, I'm at esports on Thursday nights for games. And then rinse and repeat, do all my studying, cleaning, household stuff on Friday mornings. Friday nights, I'm back at esports. We run practices Fridays for Valorant.
That's all, folks, for this edition of Carolina's Field Force and Waters podcast. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.